Hi, Radmila. Oh, nice background. We are dying to hear where you are.
I wanted to, yeah, I'm going to mute myself, but I just wanted to see you guys to see the background.
Nice. Okay, here we are. Okay, hi, Barbara, Alicia, Natasha. Natasha started today teaching. Okay, hi, Gervais.
Hi there.
Welcome. Welcome to this
Thank
meeting
you.
on
Thank
Friday
you.
Talks. Okay. All right. I don't know. Okay. All right. So let's have a quick go. Is Georgina here yet? Georgie? Can't see you.
I don't see her, but maybe the guys can switch their cameras on so that we can see you guys better, interact better with you. Just put your cameras on if you can. That would be great.
Okay. I see new faces as well. Kirsty, hello. Welcome. Okay, and
Hi.
George is here. Hi. Okay, so we thought we are in the right context to once again take a look at the new opportunities, but starting again, as we were mentioning before, from square one, because square one is something that in reality we are all familiarized with it, whether we have just started at Oxinity or whether we've been for a while or even longer. So I think square one is always going to be our reference to keep trying and starting maybe a different strategy, maybe approaching our tools from another angle. In other words, square one is always where we want to go to keep growing or start growing. So it's good and illustrative for everyone. So this is what we figured could be a good way to propose this Friday talk. So Georgina's had a really, really nice quote that she's going to show us and tell us why she chose it, which I think really represents pretty much what we want to cover and go through today. After that, Josie, Robert, and Bev have got something to tell us too. Very interesting because it's the reference of other people's experience to me is always the best. So if we put together the experiences of of partners here together with a schematic vision of it and we merge it, I think it's the key to success, to go back to square one, to go advance on that and come back to it again. So Georgie, would you like to show us your beautiful sentence and tell us why?
Of course. Yeah, here we
Thank
go.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, wait, it's not this one, but yeah, one can go for it. So everybody can see my screen, yeah? Okay, there we go. I saw this quote this week. I don't even know where, and I really liked it. Because we always have to start from the beginning. And I think I know that sounds kind of maybe very, very obvious, but not at all. I mean, it doesn't matter that others started before you. It doesn't matter at all. You just have to, there'll always be someone that started before you. And I make this reference to Steve Jobs, yeah, but he wouldn't have been able to do what he did if others hadn't done something before. So it doesn't really matter. You have to think of, where am I? And, what can I have and what do I have? I mean, I think that a good way to start is thinking, what do you want? Where would you like to be? What would you like to have? Where do you stand right now? What tools do you know? Which ones don't you know? What do you need to do to get those tools? And who do you need to go to? And that requires a lot of analysis. Because in a way, I have a feeling that when we look at each other, we look at each other's achievements. And it's good because it's a stimulation or an example or whatever. But I think that some of us are stuck because all we can see is other people's achievements and goals. It's like only seeing the peak of a mountain, right? And so that becomes very, very challenging and intimidating. But you can't focus. You can't focus on where you are by looking at somebody else, right? You have to look at yourself. You have to know where you stand and start looking at the ground and know where you're stepping and know where you're going to step next in order to, go through your own path, because it's all about your path. You can't walk other people's path. You have to walk yours. So you really have to know what is your starting point. And nobody will do it for you, and you can't do it for other people. And when we feel maybe overwhelmed, maybe knowing that everybody once began, and it's okay, and you can begin every single day. Thank God we have a new chance every single day. So this is what came to my mind.
Great. Fantastic, Georgie. That's all the different points you mentioned there are worth talking about each of them with precision, because they're very important. Okay, so let's just mention one thing before Radmila can tell us why she's there. Okay, so what it doesn't matter, because Oxinity is constantly evolving. It doesn't matter when somebody goes on the boat, okay? Because whenever somebody goes on Oxinity's boat, there is a whole experience behind that is going to back us up, and this boat is going to continue progressing. And one of the best proofs is what Radmila is going to share with us now, if she may.
Hi guys, so hopefully you can hear me fine with all this background noise. All right, great. So where I am, first of all, I'm not alone. I'm here with Maria and Jonathan, and we are in this industrial unit in the south of Madrid, and it is hosting the one of the most important startup competitions. It's called South Summit. So great startups have, or great companies have started with South Summit or after South Summit. So it's great that we are talking about beginnings and starting points, because this is a startup competition and we're here, and it's the most amazing place that we can be right now. So I'm going to tell you about the results, so that to get it out of the equation. But I'd like to put some context first. Now, for this competition this year, more than 4,500 companies were competing, and out of it, from all areas, from all sectors, using technology. And there were 100 finalists that were split in 10 tracks, such as, well, education, which is the track that we were participating. So imagine, out of all these 4,000 companies, we are one of the 10 EdTech startups to compete. So there are people from fintech, health tech, agriculture, tourism, productivity, a lot of, 10 areas, 10 tracks there. Now, the way we did it was amazing. So this is the experience I'm going to tell you. But there are factors that you can control and other factors that you cannot control. They are not in your hands. So in all startups, there are investors, there are interests that you cannot control. So we were in the eventually another company made it to got the prize. It's fine. But what was in our control was amazing. And I'm not going to now give any evaluation of who did what. I'm just going to wait for the videos to be ready, because everything was recorded, and I'm going to share it with you. So you guys judge who deserved, who you think was the best. I'm going to leave it there. Now, obviously we're happy with the result. It's obvious. Well, happy with the process, not eventually the result, because we deserve to be between the 10 that eventually competed for the final prize. But I'm going to share the process because it was amazing. That's what we take out of it, the experience, right? And most importantly, no matter if we had won or not, we would have been, even if we had won, we would have been at the beginning. So it's always at the beginning. We're always at the beginning. And as a startup, and as people that are in actively in a market, not just, when you have a decisive role, you're always at the beginning because there is always, you have to look at the market. You have to make very fast moves all the time. You have to ask what the next move is, and the next move puts you at the beginning always. It's the thing that you don't know, the thing that you haven't done. That's it. So we are all beginners, all of us. Now, we have to realize it because after a summit, we're at the beginning. And it's great. It feels great. So what was the process like? Now, the most important thing that we decided, probably, and I was absolutely scared because I didn't have any experience there, was when Jonathan told me, now you're pitching. Okay, so we made it through we were shortlisted, you were this, and you were pitching. And I was, but why? I mean, you do it much better. You have to be the one. You should do that. But here is what it is. There had to be the decision of splitting the roles. And the one who pitches not the most important, but by no means. It's not about who pitches, it's about the project and what's behind it. So what's behind the project, Jonathan needed the time to do it. Now, if you open Oxinity.com today, I don't know if you've done it, but if you do it, you will see why I was pitching and not him. So what you see is not just he woke up and he did this, and now it works, and now it's amazing. No. If Raquel is here, is she with us? Yeah, she's here. So there was a very intense prior job work between them to to design every single thing, every single element in this page, to do every single optimization, every single word. So the preparation for the page in the first place was amazing, and we needed it for the competition because otherwise people wouldn't have understood a thing. I don't think they understood a thing, but because, well, it's very difficult in 3 minutes to condense everything that you are doing. But anyway, with this, what Jonathan did, it was much better to link the dots. And then we needed Maria to do all the networking and the public relations because you cannot cope with it. So when around the 23rd of April, it was announced that we are going to South Summit. So I started freaking out that same day. But thank God, if I were alone, that's the thing. If I were alone, I would have gone mad. But I wasn't, luckily. So there was a perfect timing because you run against the clock. You have 3 minutes and you have to explain everything, which is impossible. And not only you have to explain everything, but you cannot fail it because if you miss a point, then elements have to be linked so smoothly that you start speaking and you end speaking, and you have to have explained everything with that makes perfect sense, with logic. Everything has to go right. So with my personality, that was very difficult. And I needed someone to take the reins of my preparation. So forget about doing things alone. You cannot. Even if you're a genius, you need someone to handle you. Yeah, you need someone to handle you, and you need people to delegate and to do other things. So for instance, I really needed Mari Carmen to be able to be on top of the business management. I really needed you guys to be able to do a Friday talk, and I'm doing a lot of talking, but well, I really needed that, and you did it. So okay, the preparation was that way. First, it was quite unorthodox preparation. because we didn't start well. I was freaking out about the presentation, but Raquel nailed it. And again, she nailed it because every single detail had to match with what we transmitted. So we had to deliver it on the 19th of May. And that same day we finished it. But it was perfect. When we finished it, it had all the elements, all the words, the right images that would go with what I was telling and explaining. And I'm going to record it properly, and I'm going to share it because it is really amazing what we were showing there. What we were showing was great, and what we were explaining, it was great. So it came time for me to learn it and to prepare it. And that preparation, again, was something super difficult and tricky because it's not easy to, it's 3 minutes, you run against the clock, and I had to present in English, which is difficult, and not to make mistakes. And I know I always make mistakes with numbers. So I would say for 100 and it's for 1,000. 100 and thousands are difficult for me. All these things. Words, some word combinations are difficult. Some words are long, like intercommunication protocol, interoperability, whatever. So, well, it was difficult. So we made it. We broke it in 3 parts. The first, I had to act very angry because I was exposing the problem. So Jonathan told me, you have to think this is shit. What was the second part? Uh, I had to think of that. I had to say the words. Yeah, I had to say, um, this is how we collect data in education, and it's totally inefficient, and the students are the ones who fail, never us, and so on. But I had to think, this is shit, fuck, and so on. So you imagine me on the stage saying, but I was thinking, fuck. Well, okay, this is just for you. After that part, I had to reduce the dramatic, you see, role and actually explain things. So in the explanation part, I had to go super fast. And it was full of difficult words for me. Artificial intelligence, intercommunication protocols, collecting data, looking at this, looking at that, blah, blah, blah. And I did it, and Jonathan said, look, since I was scared of that part, he said, here you can fail, and you can say whatever you want. You can say, and now I see a white horse passing by, they won't notice. So do it. And that was great because I didn't mess it. But I had the peace of mind that if something went wrong, I had the strategy. And then I would finish with 13 seconds of spare time. So I had something of 13 seconds to make things wrong and right again. And so we sat in with the how do you call it, chronometro? I don't know it, but we measured the time.
Stopwatch.
Yeah, so the stopwatch. So 1, 2, 3, and 13 seconds is a long time to be able to make a mistake and put your head back on track. But I didn't need them. So, okay, and I finished fine. And then the Q&A. The Q&A was tricky because the Q&A is where they can say, all right, now I'm going to get you. Now I'm going to go and see the weak spot and so on. And we were super ready. And again, numbers were my biggest issue, but it was fine. We know what could have been asked. And yes, I was ready because one of the questions that we thought could be asked was asked. And I answered. I don't remember what I said, by the way, but I answered. And then what made the whole difference was, and sometimes you need, again, people to help you. So the presenter, the one that was presenting, that guy was amazing. You will see it because he had the script, he had what Oxinity was, the way we describe it, again, the interoperability protocol and so on. And he said to me, before I went to stage, look, I know how to pronounce it. I've been practicing, but tell me, what are you guys doing? So in 30 seconds, I managed to tell him something, but he was so amazingly good that when he started introducing us, Jonathan and I was looking and we said, but this is brilliant. He does it better than us. So he helped. I mean, sometimes you're always also lucky, and sometimes you have external help. So it went well. Now, um, it was a great experience, and I was really disappointed when eventually other guys raised the price because they're, well, in my opinion, our project has much more impact for education, and it has much more uh, the the what we are going to leave to the next generation will matter. This is it. So for me, for us, that was important. That is important. That it matters. But here we are at the beginning again. So right now it's over. Today the South Summit finishes and we are at the beginning again. But you know, and again, let me just acknowledge a couple of things. So in the preparation part, you learn from everyone. And I took the advice of a 10-year-old, believe me, and she's doing synchronized swimming. And she said, when we go to, when we compete, the coach takes us and makes us visualize the whole routine. And you have to do it, she said. And you have to imagine yourself there winning, doing it right and winning. That helped. Believe it or not, that helped. I'm telling you because tomorrow it will be one of you on stage, certainly. And I will tell you this, and this helps, on stage or wherever you are. And then after the competition, a very young guy came and said, hey, can I talk to you? And he said, I'm starting a company. I have a startup and I'm a linguist and I want to teach, to help teachers in the UK to prepare people for A levels, right? For university Spanish. So he was so, you know, so interested. We showed we told him who we are, what we do, and we showed him the spindles, and he was absolutely amazed. You know, so he is at the beginning, but he is also thinking his solution is for teachers, and it's great because the guy is going to make it. And I think, well, there were solutions there. There were apps to do teaching without teachers, with artificial intelligence without people at all, and so on, with a chat, and so on. So there are a lot of solutions, but honestly, those of us who care for teachers, eventually we're going to find each other. We're going to find the alliances. Maria will tell you she got a school that is going to try the spindles with the whole curriculum. They're going to try it with the whole curriculum, so that's great. So when you start something and eventually you find your alliances, we'll find each other. This is it. I don't know if I'm missing something. I wanna go back to the beginning, and at the beginning is collaboration and sharing. This is how we started, and teamwork. I mean, I was on stage. I was saying, we've done this with 2,000 teachers. It's true, along these years, and more than 25,000 editable activities. You imagine the impact. Imagine the amount. So you cannot do it alone. I mean, it takes collaboration and sharing and teamwork again and again, and you're always at the beginning. Anyway, I leave it here. I shut up, and over to you guys.
That's great. Well, I'm sure we're all looking so forward to see that recording, Radmila, for sure. Okay, it feels like we can't do that, but it would be nice, wouldn't it, if we had a motto saying we turn shit into gold. But we'll keep it low for now. All right. Okay, that's great. Yeah, yeah. Let's go back to the beginning, taking from Radmila's. Josie, tell us about it, please.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Radwila, for doing that and going and pitching. It sounds incredibly terrifying. Like, I feel nervous now just trying to condense a year and a half of being with Oxinity into a few minutes. So I can't imagine being on a stage and like getting questions fired at you. So yeah, thank you so much for doing that.
We won't let you be alone.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, what Georgina said at the beginning with the quote, absolutely, we're on our own journey with this, and you really have to remember that. I think, yeah, we're not comparing ourselves to each other. We're here to help each other and encourage and support each other through this. So yeah, I'll just try and give a bit of an overview of my journey with Oxinity. And I think a good place to start is just a quick overview of my background. So I didn't do like teaching at university or anything like that. I used to work for a technology company and I helped create an education sector, but it was to do with virtual reality and technology, nothing to do with English. So really cool and interesting. And that's when I realized, oh, I love teaching. I'm going to just quit and then trained to become an English teacher. But then I went right back to the beginning. At 32, I'd already established myself in an industry. So I had to go right back and completely learn again, which was terrifying. And I joined one of those like Chinese, Japanese companies, very low paid, kind of like, here's a material, go and teach it. But so an okay introduction to teaching, but not ideal. And I was working 40 hours a week, earning very little, really exhausted, like no room for progression. And then I found Oxinity online and I was like, oh my gosh, like technology and education. So, like my old background and my newfound passion combined. Like this, how can this be so perfect? And I remember doing the interview with Georgina and like I like really prepared for it. And then yeah, doing all the webinars and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really overwhelmed. Like felt complete imposter syndrome. I just suddenly taken this dive to like become an actual teacher. Yeah, and it was terrifying. And I did all the webinars. Hang on a minute, I've just lost my train of thought. 1 second. I did all the webinars, felt like a bit fearful, but then I just started chipping away at all the little bits. So looked into social media, had a bit of a background in that. But I never, yes, this was it. I'd never made a material before. I'd never gone and got my own students or clients before. I'd done a bit of social media and marketing, but not a lot. And I had like, a year and a half of experience of teaching, but I was still very much learning that as well. So yeah, I started chipping away at all the little bits. I kind of wish I'd structured myself more in that. So if you're a new teacher, I'd recommend, breaking things down with a bit of a structure. And then I think like, I actually got 3 or 4 private students at first because I was still getting to know the system. And because I went from this old job and like financially, I found it a bit difficult to just completely take like the leap with Oxinity and put my energy into the open web classes. But then I quickly realized like how much effort it is to look after your own students and doing all the scheduling and stuff. And then finally, after 3 months, I got my first open web class. So like, that just completely motivated me, and like getting support from Maria and from the team, like absolutely make sure that you're getting support from them. And then onwards from there, I was like, right, no more private students. I'm only going to focus on getting open web classes or sharing private students with the community. Slowly progressed with that. I found a marketplace in Germany because I was living in Germany at the time. Played around with different adverts, ended up investing in it by paying monthly to get a good exposure. And then I think it took me like 9 months to write my first blog. So like this is what I mean. Like everyone has their own journey with it. And like I am someone that can get overwhelmed quite easily. I'm someone that gets really excited very easily and has loads of ideas, but I can also like get very, very overwhelmed as well. Um, yeah. And so I don't want to talk for too long, and maybe people can ask questions. But I guess to move on to where I'm at now. So New Beginnings is looking at Minecraft stuff, which I guess some of you guys have been looking at as well. I've been, getting more, what's the word? Getting more online presence on LinkedIn and messaging companies. I actually did have someone message me organically for the first time, inquiring about looking for a teacher. So it's good to see that that exposure is working slowly. Things are still going well with my German marketplace. And I think like this is something that I'm still trying to learn at the moment as well, is how do I get free trials to sign up? Because I've had some luck, but I don't want it to be luck anymore. I want to have a structure that's like, this works every time. So I'm trying to figure that out. And like Maria and Mary Carmen have been helping me. Bev's been amazing and taken on one of my private students, which is really, really good. So so I think this is it. It's just about using your intuition and utilizing the community, not being afraid to ask for help. And also like, we created this complimentary work together as well, which was insane because that just came from a few of us being like, hey, why isn't there a structure for the materials? Maybe we can just help the community by creating one. And it was a lot of work, but we can see it paying off already with the quality. But I'm going to stop there. But if anyone has any questions, go for it.
I do, Josie. Why teaching? Why did you choose to teaching?
Because I thought about in my old job, I wasn't really helping people. And even though I was on like a good salary, I realized that doesn't really mean a lot to me. And I want to have a job that's got purpose. And I thought about working in mental health, but I realized like that's really intense and challenging. And honestly, when I started teaching English, I wasn't sure whether it was going to be the thing for me. But then when I realized how much people need it, and this is something that like I'm lucky, I'm a native speaker. I'm like, of course, I want to share this with people and help other people with this so then they can progress everywhere in their lives. Yeah.
That is absolutely awesome. And I would like
Oh.
to what I can see after your testimonial is one, a big interest in changing your life and doing something good, right? Two, making sure that you knew all the tools and all the possibilities you had at Oxinity before starting or in parallel to whatever steps you took at the beginning. And three, and probably the most important one, is that you're persistent, and that is what has taken you along these months to have a perfect understanding. So that is absolutely chapeau, my
Yeah.
dear Josie.
If I could
Thank
just
you.
say something, the
Of
persistence
course.
thing is so key because don't get me wrong, I've had a day when I've cried on the phone to
Oh, yes,
Ravila.
sure.
I've had like, so many challenging points, but that's it. And like this is also part of being a startup, I think. We're all on this journey together. We've all got this vision of what we want this to be. And there's just going to be challenging days with that, but you've just got to keep going. I think that's the main thing.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think frustration is one of the best lessons in life in whatever you do, because frustration plus persistent definitely takes you somewhere. And the lesson, always willing to teach, always trying, changing strategies, maybe going back to a strategy you changed before. It's a constant detector of what's going on and keep trying till you get there. That's great. So Josie's testimonial is fantastic, and I would love to hear about somebody that's been here even for longer. So maybe has, there's something about him that Josie's dragged without knowing when she joined, right? Let's see about that. Rob, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. Thank you.
Great. Can
Really
you
enjoyed
tell
that,
us?
Josie. So thank you for that. And also just want to echo what Josie was saying, Ranmila. Well done for the presentation and everything that you've done. That's great. So yeah, having this conversation takes me back. So it's quite funny. I can't, 2 seconds. I put my I don't know if it's working again now. Yeah, I started with Oxinity when I was quite young. Radmila knows this. I didn't have the experience that a lot of people had at the time, and so I was quite shy and spent a lot of my time looking up to people who were around me, the other teachers that were in Oxinity. I mean, this is pre-pandemic now, so I was able to learn from them and looked up to them and also felt a little bit intimidated by them because I didn't have the experience that they had, not only in teaching but in working as well. I mean, they, a lot of the other teachers had a lot more work experience, even because I was so kind of young and shy and that. And so, yeah, I remember I did my TEFL with Oxinity, through Oxinity, which was amazing and give me, lots of knowledge and everything. But I still had a bit of, you have a bit of practice, right? But I still felt like I lacked the skills to I remember my very first class, even being put in front of a classroom after qualifying, and going to my first class, and well, just pardon my French, but I was shitting myself, right? So I was really not looking, I was terrified. What if they ask me this? What if they ask me this about that? And all this kind of stuff. During my TEFL, I had somebody with me who was there to always, I could lean on if necessary. But yeah, it was through looking at my peers and working with my peers and having the platform and the great thing is there's all of us here in Oxinity. We've all got a different background. We've all come from a different place. We've all got different experience, and having that to lean on was I mean, it was gold for me at the time, and it still is now, that we can lean on that. And that's what I would say to anybody kind of who's sort of getting into teaching, whether you're brand new now or you're just a couple of months in, or don't be shy in trying to ask and learn from anybody in the community, because that's what we're all here for, right? We're here to help each other. We're here to learn from each other. And I remember Ranvita telling me one day about the activities. Now, for me, the activities are brilliant, and Georgina, you were talking about before about, only the quotes that you put up. And there was actually an activity that it referred me, but I can't remember who wrote it this week, but there was an activity that kind of was this week, and it rang a bit of a bell, but about sort of you're not looking at other people's goals and achievements and objectives and all that, and focusing on yourself and knowing that there's people. But yeah, it's, for me, Ramila told me, okay, do this activity. And like I say, Ramila, my first activity was probably really terrible, but but you encouraged me, and having the encouragement of those around me, and it means, we can grow. And I think, Ramila, you mentioned before, did you say more than 20? Correct me if I'm wrong, Ramila. 25,000, more than 25,000 activities have been created.
I pronounce it right. I didn't mix 100 in past. It's 25,000 editable activity. Yeah.
How incredible is that? Like, that's amazing, right? And so, yeah, if I remember Radmila saying, go on, do an activity, and with help from my peers and everyone around me, was able to improve that. And that's what I would like say to anybody who's kind of getting new to teaching, or not even if you've got experience. That's what we're here for, all of us, to help and to lean on one another. And we come to these meetings, and I learn something new every time I come. Every time I have a session, a meeting, whatever, on team, I always learn something new, and we continue learning. And well, I'm waffling on a bit as well, so I don't know if anyone's got anything to say.
Thank you.
Me, if I may. For
Yes.
Rob is now the person that, he himself has trained a lot of teachers, and he's watching for activities quality currently. So, and it started like that. I remember back then, we had to produce a lot of material, because right now we have to cover, we have to create the topics, because they have to be updated every day. But back then, we needed activities for every single thing. So for the vocabulary, for structure. So the activities production was quite intense. And I needed hands. We needed them. The team needed them. And I would approach everyone. Not everyone like to create activities but because people uh, need to. It's another technique that they have to develop, right? So at first, it is time consuming, and you don't know if you're doing it right or wrong. And it was a before and after. I think that people sometimes feel that they don't have enough creativity. In this case, everyone has it, and Rob has it because we need to align what a technique, a certain technique, with the routine of doing activities and testing them. So that's what's brilliant. I think that it's not that he's a great activity creator because he's just creative. I think that he learned what creativity is because he was testing, he was producing and testing
Absolutely. I mean,
all of us.
I wouldn't describe myself as creative at all. Actually, I tried to be, but not very much. So absolutely, trial and error.
And yet your activities are brilliant, and it's the process that every single teacher undergoes. They create something and they think it's fine, but not until they teach it they then see whether it works or not. And so it's very common. I hear it all the time. Oh my god, when I look back to at my first activities, they're kind of, right now I would never deliver that, but it's a process. So we know it, and it's, you're always there, always at the beginning to produce something great, and then you have to rethink it because you cannot, if you stop and you think this is good enough, it's not. With the activities, this is more true than with anything else. And these core people, Gergo, Josie, Georgina, they said, look, we need standards here. We need to unify standards. We have to raise them. Yeah, we have the tool and we have the knowledge, but people are doing things that are maybe not quite, they're not quite there. We're not quite there. So they created this guide, and this guide is amazing because this guide, it seems like a list of things to do, and it's not. It contains much more. It contains a very thorough reflection of the process, what works, a lot of personal experience of what works and what doesn't. So what is there, believe me guys, works. What is there, you can take it, and if you analyze it, you will see that you will be producing perfect activities, great activities, or improving. It was for complementary work, but I can extend it to activities production from scratch. So this is what it takes, but you can do it. You alone, it's impossible. It's with people, and when we create activities, it's a lot of transversal experience from teacher to teacher experience. That's why I get I get emotional when people criticize activities just because, when they say, oh, but they contain mistakes. Yeah, people contain mistakes. This is human nature. We contain mistakes. So do the activities because they were done by people in real time, teachers, like-minded. But what is hidden sometimes is that experience. So Rob from the UK is telling, I don't know, Kaylee in South Africa, hey, here is a way you can teach that content. Try it. And Sam is going to teach us Minecraft, and Josie is going to teach us how to create great structure activity. I'm just on the top of my head, but this is it. Someone that knows something is transmitting it to someone else. That's it. This is it. And they contain mistakes, as all of us. But that's why
Yeah.
they are editable, so that we can edit them, because we shouldn't make mistakes. So with the activities, it's easy. We put the edition mode and we fix them. With people, it's a bit more complicated.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Thank you, Robert, so much. Your name is well known all over the place with the activities, without a shadow of a doubt, for the time you've been there. And by the way, since we're talking about going back to square one, you're still young, Robert. You're still young. Let's bear
I
that
was
in
laughing
mind.
at that before because Radmila said he was young when he came. I was like, cheers, Radmila. Thanks for that. Really nice
You're
through
still
that.
young, and we go back to square one, and we're young again. So no doubts about that. Okay, and
Amazing.
here's the
Thank
proof.
you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Robert. Okay, so time for some scheme from Georgina to give us some really nice tips on maybe, you know, put in absolute value, certain tips that will help us. And after that, I would like Bev, since that had to do a little bit with Bev, or it had to do directly with Bev. And after that, I would like to ask the new teachers something. Go ahead, Georgie.
Okay, yeah. Planning, right? And we've spoken about planning a little bit, and a few Friday talks ago, we talked about setting objectives and how to reach them and how to set new objectives from there. And many of you have ideas, and I know that because, you know, we speak. And I remember at one point, Beth, and we were speaking, and she said, Georgina, I want to do so many things, but I don't know where to start and how to start and where's the beginning. And so we sat down, and we did together what I always do with myself, but it's in my head. It has to do with what Josie said before. If you're able to see the big picture, it's much, much, much easier to see the steps that you have to go through. So we did this very, very simple, very, very simple, well, apparently simple, let's say, scheme together. And I'm going to show it to you. So what we did, we broke down into the different, well, we skipped around, but we spoke about different channels. We spoke about the actions, or this would be the task, the subtasks. And then we organized it by difficulty, which would lead, or the priority, or one will lead to the other, and their frequencies. And this was to develop the habit, right? And we're saying that some actions are recurrent, so they have to be done every single day. So they have to dedicate a few minutes every day to them, or other actions are just once in a time, whatever. So we got together, and she said, I want to translate the dossier into Bulgarian. Okay, that was one task, and then we broke the subtasks, and then we marked it, and then on LinkedIn there's all the things that she wanted to do, and then we marked, you know, frequency and how she would have to organize her time. And in the emails, there was all these subtasks, but whatever, I don't know what she eventually did with all of this. And I remember at one point we were dividing this together. There we are, okay? And we eventually had not a priority, applicable in the future. So this really structured everything she wanted to do, right? And she had like a plan, she had like a map to follow, right? And here the analysis was exactly where she was, where she wanted to go, what she needed to get there, and eventually, how to get there. So this is what we did together. And from now, I don't know what Bev did with it. I don't know if it was useful or not. I have no idea. So maybe Bev, I don't know. What did you do with this?
Okay, yeah, it was incredibly useful. So we spent quite a long time talking about these things. So because I think it's important that at some point it does get overwhelming, and I was incredibly overwhelmed. I think at first there's all these ideas going in your head, and unfortunately, I'm the kind of person that when I have too many ideas, I end up not following through because it's just too much. And I end up stepping back and thinking, okay, starting again. So yeah, it was a great help with Georgina. I obviously use it regularly. What I found was, as I started through the process, some of them that I thought were more important turned out to be not as important when I followed a pattern. So the level of importance changed on some things, which I think that's just natural. But it was a huge help, and from it, I created. I live in Bulgaria, so apps here, platforms here for teachers, which is where pretty much 99% of interest that I've had has come from. I found it was very quick for me to feel that overwhelmed, that I'm not in the hub. I felt I wasn't in the hub of things because I'm not in Spain and I don't speak Spanish. But then I quickly realized that, okay, I'm not in Spain, but technology allows us to all be together. So really the location ended up not being the problem at all. just again, my mindset of it. So, but yeah, reach out. I mean, Georgina's been a huge help along the line, as has Radmila. Finding out Radmila was Bulgarian was just the most, was amazing. So, and she's been a huge help down the line. But yeah, plan, because it gets overwhelming. So Georgina, yeah, it helped me a lot. Do you want me to focus on anything particular, Georgina, from that?
No, your experience. I just helped you. I know I'm nothing here. I just gave you all this. So whatever you.
Well, no, it helps. Yeah, plan that format, Georgina. Maybe is it available for everybody? No, I don't mean the content, but the format. I think people would benefit a lot from it.
It's just a table.
Yes, I know, but
it's just a table.
Listen, technology to me is not natural. I grew up with a typewriter.
It's just a Word document. Like, sorry, it's just a Word document with a table and a few words at the top. And I just maybe the task, subtask, priority, timing, frequency. Maybe you guys have other stuff. Maybe some people have, I don't know, geolocation, because maybe people want to do stuff in different parts of the world. So there could be many different categories.
Yes, I know it's just that to you, Georgina, but it's not just that simple to everybody. Like it wasn't for me until you showed me.
Then I will send you the Word document with the tables. It's fine. It's fine. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Beth, for that, because you are very right in saying that it's not easy. I don't think it's been easy for anyone. And here we are precisely to find where the difficulties are so we can all help. Like at some given point, you had some tips from Georgina, and that's what we want to hear here as well. Not just the testimonials that are working well, but of course, these frustrations we were talking about before. And we want to help. And each person will have a different strategy, and each partner is going to find difficulties. And that's exactly what we're here for, to hear them and help. So thank you so much, Bev. Back to you, Radmila.
I just want to probably make it easier for you, Bev. I think that we might have been very ambitious because we focus too much on the Bulgarian market, and Bulgaria is very difficult. I'm not saying to abandon it, but I'm Bulgarian and I know how difficult it is. Actually, I strongly admire people that stay there, and even more people that go there to live, like you, move there, make that decision. I know that it's not an easy decision, but we can go global and we can select for you, apart from, of course, trying in Bulgaria because they need us as anyone, as Spain needs us. But I think that with you guys, we have to again go back at the beginning. Maybe we were just aiming too high, and we have to say, right, but what can we teachers, the simplest thing that we can achieve? What is the simplest thing? Let's go for it. Let's get the simplest thing. The simplest thing is to get a private student, just a private class. That's it. Everyone can do that. Everyone does it. Maybe we have to go and solve this. Is it my preferred choice? By no means. I think, but don't get me wrong. Sometimes you need to go and get the easy thing, thinking what is beneficial. So the private class to me is ruinous, but you may need to start. That's as simple as this. So once we cover and once we know how to handle simple things, then we can go and handle things that require more, I don't know, just more organizational issues that we can provide. So go back to simple. Those of you who haven't started yet, those of you who are at the beginning, what you guys need is look around and get one student. End of it. Full stop. Because growth comes with volume, and the problems of growth comes after a certain stage. So these are the problems that we solve. The problems of growth we solve them all. But if you're not there yet, don't worry, you will be one day. Start simple. Start with the things that you have around, with the neighbor that needs tuition, not tuition, tutoring, with that person that has recommended you because you did great with not with their, you know, son, daughter, husband, wife, whatever. Start that way, and when you start uh, feeling the pressure of my agenda is full, then what do I do? How do I handle? You will remember, oh, but what were these Oxinity guys telling me? That they have something that I can use to benefit, to grow, to make it easy. Then it's when we can really help. So in this initial stage, the most important thing is exactly to handle frustration, to manage your frustration and expectations. So take take tips, Georgina's tips, and take steps one at a time. Yeah, we aim high, but take South Summit. Um, it was 5 years ago that we started presenting the project, and now we are here. But it took 5 years. So it's one step at a time. All the steps that we've been doing in between allow us to be here now.
Thank you, Radmila. Josie, you wanted to mention something?
Yeah, I'll say it quickly just because we've got a couple of minutes, but I think it's all ties into this going back to the beginning. So I have been the only person really representing in Germany. So for me, I think that's also why my progression has been slower, because the app isn't in German. I've translated, but so it is, all these things take time. So I think it's kind of up to you. If you want to go for a market outside of Spain, I think that's good. But I think you just have to be prepared that it's going to take longer, because you're going right back to that. Or, you can do both. Like, you can target Spain and slowly work on another area. Because for me, like, I don't want to give up on Germany, because I can see a long-term progression with it. But I just know that I'm not going to make loads of money overnight necessarily. So I also want to focus on Spain as well.
That is great. That is great. Until you're all over the place. That's the way. Very good. And above all, that example that Georgina gave, what she said, it's only a table. Yeah, but it's a hell of a table, because sometimes simple things seem like they're nothing, but it's a lot, because it gives you tips and steps to follow. And sometimes to come up with simple things, it's more difficult than coming up with more complicated things, because the simple things are the ones that lead you to the target. So I think that's wonderful as well. Thank you, Josie, for that as well. So we just have a couple of minutes, but I would really love, since we were talking about the beginnings, for the past 2 weeks, there's a fair amount of new teachers, new partners that have joined. So I'm not going to have time to ask them all, but maybe 2 or 3, just as a wrapping up, talking at the beginning, since there are at the beginnings as well, like us, but just started. I would love to hear John Fleming. Could you please tell us why Oxinity?
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I think the honest answer is the world of employment, career hunting is rather new to me, in that for the past 19 years, I was in a career, a career considered a lifelong career. But it quickly got to the point where I realized I didn't feel fulfilled. And so I decided to change. Big step, but I like quite a few people have said, I'm at the beginning. Why Oxinity? The honest answer is not because of what Oxinity is or what it represents, all of which I'm very attracted to now. But the honest answer is it was very near the top of my LinkedIn feed. And I thought, well, let's give this a go. I'm going to click on this, see what it's about, and see if it's for me. That is the honest answer. And I suppose the positive from that very shallow answer is that the advertising or market presence that you guys are putting in is working, because here I am, from one click, I'm now joining a webinar with people who are well established. And from the first meeting with Georgina to this morning, I'm feeling more and more enthused. Each step has been positive so far. And it's mostly down to presence. I would never have known Oxinity was there otherwise.
That's great. Thank you, John. Well, I don't believe in casualities or coincidences. I believe in the reading behind life. Everything happens for something. So if we are able to read it with attention, we will find out the reason. So I'm very happy you are here, John. Thank you very much for that. And I am sure this is for something. And again, we are offering everybody the help in whatever questions you have, whichever way we can start get the ball rolling for you and the rest. So it's time. Maybe Radmila, do I have time to ask one more person?
Go ahead, yeah.
Yes. Kirsty, are you around? No. Je vais. Oh.
Sure, yeah, not first.
Gervais, are you with us? Okay. So once again, I don't believe in.
Hi, yeah,
Oh,
I
there
am.
you are. Go ahead. Why
Hi, yeah.
Oxinity for you, Gervais?
Again, that's a very similar answer like John. I've actually only heard about Oxinity through my brother, who has been with Oxinity for a number of years now, I believe, and he's been very happy. So for me, I found an interest in it as well because I like to travel a lot because I'm a freelance photographer. So with that as well, Oxinity would work out, from what I've heard and learned from my brother about it, it would work out perfectly with the type of lifestyle that I live with, being in a different country. And I was exposed to the Asian lifestyle for about 5.5 years. I lived in China. So I do have a lot of connections and know-how over there in terms of the teaching community and students in different types of schools. So I think with stepping forward with Oxinity, I think it'll be a very nice step for me personally. And of course, it has piqued my interest with the few conversations I've had about Oxinity with my brother, who has been teaching in Oxinity for quite a while, like I said.
Okay. All right. Welcome, like everybody else, Gervais to
Thank you.
Oxinity. We have Lydia, we have Natasha, we have all these new teachers, others that I'm not sure if I can see properly if they're here or not, Kirsty as well. So I would love to hear your opinions as well next time, and above all, make these Friday talks worth it for you guys to have a good impulse for your beginnings. So welcome all the new teachers, and we'll be in touch. Radmila, I don't know if you want to add something before the end of today?
No, but I do want to say thank you to all of you guys, because right now, well, you're the greatest community. We're the greatest community. So you have to know it. I'm so proud. I'm so honored and very happy to share these moments with you. I really am. So you deserve it. I wish all of you were here right now. But since we're in different countries, I just want to have this moment because it belongs to all of us. So thank you very much. It's really inspiring for me.
Thank you. And above all as well, thank you to Georgie, to Josie, to Bev, to everyone that has participated. It's very important. Rob as well. Thank you so much for you for being here today. And let's keep together, and let's keep learning, and let's keep participating. Let's see if next time, if we can manage to have at least 15 people talking on a Friday talk, I'll figure something special to do. I'll think about it. Okay, that'll be great. We want to hear it all because it's the best learning for all of us. Thank you so much and have a fantastic weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.